Hello, this is a series of presentations with the topic of data flow diagrams for SAP S for HANA. I have a general reference diagram which will be the subject of this unit, and then subsequent units will talk to individual examples of how that can be applied. So the first slide is this one. It's the general reference diagram. It talks to an abstraction of the SAP logic to illustrate the data flows that occur within a typical SAP system, SAP for HANA. The internal box, the one with the broadest boundary, the big blue boundary, is a representation of the SAP for HANA solution. It's comprised of two main areas: the blue area at the top, which represents the SAP application module logic, and then the lower level grey box, which represents the SAP HANA database. SAP HANA as a database is an in-memory columnar database, and it has a number of other features and functions associated with it to optimize the processing of data. I won't go into that in this detail. I'm really looking here at the logical flows of data. So two parts, the application logic and the database logic. Those are all within the S4HANA solution. And what I'm representing on the diagram are some of the external relationships that exist in a typical implementation of SAP. At the top I have business partners in the form of customers and all the various roles that could be executed by a customer. And the vendor represents, again, the business partner to whom we request performance and who we pay, and it also covers a number of different roles for the purposes of this presentation. On the left-hand side, I have the SAP user community who are then interacting with the SAP solution through a series of Fiori tiles, typically launched from the Fiori Launchpad, which is installed locally on the user device. And in the bottom half, I have the integration framework, which is the SAP integration suite, using tools such as SAP process orchestration or Cloud Connector and other integration functionality within that suite. And that allows us then to take data which is being generated in external systems and integrating that directly to the database through the API layer into the various structures that are supported in the database underneath S4HANA. The dark green blocks in the middle on the left-hand side just represent a particular use case for consumption-based billing, and I'll talk to that in one of the subsequent units. Okay, let's look a little closer then at the application logic and how data flows. I'm representing in the light blue blocks each of and this is just a subset for representation purposes, the application modules. Sales and distribution is a collection of logic typically covering the sales and distribution function. Same with customer service, project systems, inventory management, etc. There are many modules and they're not all represented on the slide. We also have some externally facing solutions such as procurement and HR, more of an internally focused function. Supporting all of that are the financial accounting modules, and that really is the secret sauce of SAP, is keeping the financial books of accounts aligned and integrated in real time with the front office activities that may be taking place in any of the applications. And that is also supported then by management accounting. So we have financial obligations to report either to our shareholders or in a common way according to financial standards. And we may have some internal methods of reporting which reflect different views and perspectives on our business operations. Management accounting also covers the cost function and the cost definition, and the way in which overheads are distributed to allow us to perform profitability analysis. I'm representing profitability analysis within the management accounting function, and this is to be distinguished from profit center accounting, which equally exists in that space but is not on this diagram. On the right hand side, I also have the analytics reporting and reporting function. There are certain embedded analytics artifacts which are delivered as standard as part of the content with an S4 system. As well as the possibility of a more sophisticated dashboard and planning engine under the form of SAP Analytics Cloud. And again, you can see there's an external system with a return data set coming back into the system to reflect the planning activities that may occur. Okay, let's have a closer look then at some of the data flows. Let's say, for instance, we have a sales order being received by us for the performance of certain obligations, in return for which we will get paid. That sales order is reflected as a document in the database. As activities occur on that sales order, for example, issuing items or services to that sales order in fulfillment of our obligation, so certain activities, those activities will be recorded in the form of certain documents, internal documents. And one of those tracks the quantity changes, and the other tracks the value changes. And they both have a different endpoint. Material documents are typically tracking the inventory holding that we have and keeping an accurate record of the quantities that are available for other processes and other users to consume. And the accounting document is reflecting the change in value to our business. So as the value of our inventory assets is converted into the fulfillment of a sales obligation, so that's reflected then in the change of value of the different assets that we have, and ultimately that's converted into a receipt of cash, and again that's managed through financial accounting. The secret sauce of an SAP system is very much the existence of the internal documents that track the quantity and value changes as they occur in real time and ensure that the front office activities are completely aligned with the back office activities. And that's where we realize the benefits of a streamlined support for our business processes. Within financial accounting, there are a number of sub-ledgers, and I'm representing a couple of those, like accounts receivable, asset accounting, accounts payable, and in a subsequent unit we'll talk about contract accounting and revenue and assurance reporting. Well, that's it for this module. I'll talk to a specific example of how a flow can occur given certain business activities in each of the subsequent modules.